Welcome to today's video. Welcome to Cybernet Security. Thank you so much for being here today. So in today's video, we'll be talking about the major difference between a traditional firewall and a next generation firewall. So like I said earlier, if you have not been following my YouTube channel, feel free to subscribe and like my videos. I have a lot of videos that I've done previously that's talked about many different technology aspects, technology topics, which you can actually go down and look at them. So, but in today's video, we'll be talking about the major difference between a traditional firewall and a next generation firewall. Okay, let's go straight to it. So, before that, I will define what a firewall is. A firewall is a network security equipment, is a network device. It can be a virtual appliance, it can be a physical appliance. For example, we have different examples of firewalls we have out there. We have the Fortinet firewall, we have which are premium firewalls. We have the Cisco firewall, and we have open source firewalls as well, like um, we have the PFSense, we have the OPNsense, and many of them out there. So a firewall is basically a network appliance. It sits in between your network and the internet. What it does specifically is to protect your environment. It watches, it sits in the middle to monitor the traffic that traverses between your network to the internet and from internet to your network. So by default, firewalls don't allow traffic that is coming from outbound to inbound. Like what I mean by outbound to inbound is traffic that come from the internet or the WAN side to the LAN side. So firewalls by default see everything on the LAN as safe and secure, but everything that exists on the WAN as not trusted, untrusted, and unsecure. So firewall sits, like I said earlier, firewall sits in between your LAN network and your wide area network. So what it does is to filter traffic. What it does is to monitor traffic that goes between these two areas, like the LAN local area network and the WAN, the wide area network. So here we'll be talking about a traditional firewall. This firewall has two types. We have the traditional firewall. We have a next generation firewall. So what are the major differences between a traditional firewall and a next generation firewall? Traditional firewall are firewalls that they only filter traffic based on the IP address, the ports, and the protocols. For example, I have an IP address like 192.168.100.0 or .1, and I have a port because as we know, like if you didn't watch my video when I did a NAT video, I explained about NATing, which can happen in this firewall layer or in the router layer. So this NATing kind of it maps your private IP address to your public IP address depending on the NAT model that you are using in your environment. So when it's mapping these IP addresses, it's mapping them based on their port numbers. So this with this IP and the combination of these IP addresses and these port numbers is what this traditional firewalls uses to check, to filter traffic. It can either allow or deny traffic within your environment based on this IP address and these port numbers. So and again, these traditional firewalls make use of protocols to equally prevent and or equally allow or deny traffic on your environment. So protocols I mean here can be your TCP protocol, the transmission control protocol, can be your FTP, can be your UDP. These TCP protocols are protocols that exist within the transport layer of the OSI model. So another way we can describe this traditional firewall is it makes use of static rule-based filtering. This static rule-based filtering is like I personally describe this traditional firewall as a kind of a device that lacks intelligence. It just looks at the static configuration and works according to those configuration. It doesn't add, it doesn't remove. So here now it focuses mainly on network layer security. Just like I said, firewalls are for network security specifically. So it has limited visibility into application level traffic. So what do I mean here? What I mean here by having a limited visibility is, for example, if I want to, in my environment where workers use YouTube. They use social platforms like TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and so many of them. And I want to I want to deny certain traffic based on this application level. So with a traditional firewall, I cannot do that. I cannot filter certain traffic based on this application level. I cannot say, okay, for example, I want to block BitTorrent out of my environment. Like we say, BitTorrent can actually clog your network if you is being allowed on on an enterprise environment. So when I am using traditional firewall, I might not be able to specifically block this traffic based on the application level. I can do that using either the IP ports or the protocols, which might not be that efficient and effective. So another way the traditional firewall works, it cannot effectively detect modern threats. Like the traditional firewalls don't have anti-malware ability. It doesn't have the ability to do sandboxing. It doesn't have the ability to do maybe use IPS, which is the intrusion prevention system. So let's go into the next generation firewall. This next generation firewall is a better firewall. The firewall, right? Okay, yeah, it's a better firewall because it's makes the environment more secure, more safe, because it's kind of it has more the features. It comprises of all the features that a basic traditional firewall can offer you and more. So let's look at these features that this next generation firewall can actually do. It includes a traditional firewall, like I said earlier, it includes a traditional firewall capabilities already. Everything that a traditional firewall can do, this next generation firewall can do it, and do it excellently and perfectly. So now it quality performs a deep packet inspection. So what do I mean here? When in the network level, packets are being moved across the network. So that is where communication comes in. Packets are being moved across the network. So when you are talking about packets can have you can have a lot of segments in a packet. So where you have a packet header and the information, the data, and many other segments that appear there. So this next generation firewall can do a deep packet inspection. It can actually inspect the contents of these individual packets to see if there are malicious threats in those traffics. So it goes deeper to analyze those packets that have been sent across the network. So that is what I mean by deep packet inspection. So another thing is application awareness and control. So it has this feature that this traditional firewall cannot give you, like using those applications, like filtering those traffics in your environment using applications. For example, I want to stop every YouTube communication in my network. I don't want any person to use YouTube to access the internet on my environment. I don't want to allow anybody to do TikTok in my environment. This next generation firewall does that perfectly. I can block, I can filter, I can deny certain traffic based on the application that is being used in the environment. So integrated intrusion prevention system. So here, when I talk about integrated intrusion prevention system, so out there there's something they call cyber threat intelligence, where uh, you can get a lot of, in the database of this firewall, it can have a lot of malicious threat indicator of compromises, the hashes, threat actors hashes, and all these things. So it can use those indicator of compromise hashes, those indicator of compromise, and so those threat feeds to assess your traffic to see if there are similar threats trying to take advantage of your network, or trying or passing through your network and going in and out. So it uses those indicators of compromise and those hashes to filter traffics in your environment. So when I say advanced threat protection and malware detection, so this equally has the ability of sandboxing. Like I said earlier, it can, if it senses a packet, a traffic or a packet to be malicious, it can actually send it to a sandbox where it can test run it to test the ability to confirm if that traffic is actually malicious. It has a lot of features that it comes with it, which can actually give your environment, your enterprise environment, a higher security level. For example, it can make, like I said earlier, The typical use cases, a traditional firewall basically are being used in small and legacy networks. Like I said, they are legacy firewalls. They are used in a very small environment where risk can be minimal. If it's an enterprise environment, it is not advisable to use a traditional firewall in an enterprise environment, because you cannot you are kind of leaving your environment porous. So it's only used for basic perimeter security. So, but for network security firewall, next generation firewall, sorry, it is basically used for enterprise networks. It is used to protect enterprise networks. If you are running on a hybrid cloud, for example, you run on-prem and equally in the cloud, be it Azure or AWS, on a next generation firewall can actually give you a good network security, perimeter network security. Like I said, having just a firewall is not sufficient enough to secure environment. Firewalls are just one step to security. You understand? So there are many, they have different layers of security, but firewall is just one of it. It sits on the network level. So it has high security environment. So it is used in finance sector, it's used in government sector, it's equally used in healthcare sector. Okay, in conclusion, a traditional firewall is suitable for just basic protection for example, your personal lab and your home office. Not really, but when you are talking about where risk, I'm talking about where risk can be minimal, where risk is not a major criteria. So, but when you are looking at safety, you are looking at security, it's always advisable to move into network next generation firewall, because it gives you a better security in environment. It gives you more control. It gives you more visibility to what is moving in and out of your environment. It gives you control over the traffics going in your environment. So please, thank you. I hope this my small explanation helped you understand the major difference between a traditional firewall and the next generation firewall. So, but if you don't if you still lack a sufficient understanding of what NATing is, which is network address translation, is, I have a video that talked about NATing, which you can visit. I will link it to the description of this my video. You can go there to understand how NATing works, and what you need to know about NATing, network address translation technology. You can find it in your firewall or in your router, so on and so forth. So thank you guys, and again, don't forget to like and subscribe this my YouTube channel, because more resourceful videos will be coming up, and we have a lot of videos, technology videos that we talked about different technologies, topics on them. So feel free to go and like and comment and subscribe. So if you have any questions concerning this my present video on traditional firewall or next generation firewall, you can always keep a comment. Thank you guys, and do have a lovely day.